Hey, welcome everyone. Sorry about the late start. It was a last minute errand I had to run on, and but thanks Matthew for for patiently waiting for us to launch off. And welcome everyone. Dan, good to see you in there, and Fox off as always. Good to see you, Baron. Good to see you, and Ultra Trapper. Good to see you, Hunter. And we're going to jump right into this. And first of all, welcome to the OSR Tabletop live stream with myself, GM Bloodworth. I had the great pleasure of meeting Matt in person at Central New York RPG Con just this past June. Played in his Barrows and Borderlands game. It was great fun. We have several other people at the in the chat that were at the table as well. I'm sure Matt recognizes Dan. Dan was there too, and we will certainly be recounting what happened in that game session because it was absolutely phenomenal. If I didn't already have Barrows and Borderlands, I would have bought it just off of that experience. So
Thank you.
I'll let Matthew jump in and introduce himself and tell us a little bit about your gaming history first, and then what made you decide, hey, I'm going to make my own game system. So go right ahead, Matt.
Hey, yeah, it's good to be here, and that was quite a wild session. Which I'm sure we'll talk a lot about it. But I'm the creator of Barrows and Borderlands, a weird science fantasy game, styled off of like old school D&D, a little bit of Gamma World mixed in there, some AD&D, and then a lot of weird stuff from our gaming group over the years. But as far as my gaming history goes, I started with newer school games. So 5th edition came out when I was 15. So that was the box set that my buddies brought to school was the starter set. And then and we had troubles with it for a long time, mainly because we kept trying to mess with it, or it wasn't quite giving us the vibe we were looking for of we didn't know we were looking for old school games and like grittier games, but turned out we were. But then we eventually started moving back, played a lot of Hyperborea for a while, and then got into playing BX and a little old school Essentials, and obviously like Lamentations, and we were just trying all these games. And then eventually, for the world that we were playing in, which was the Borderlands, it was supposed to be science fantasy. I wound up having 20 to 30 books out at the table, and then a bunch of binders of my house rules that we'd been using. And one of my players asked if I was going to print off booklets for them so they could make their characters without having to come to me every time. And so I started it with B&B just being a little primer booklet for my home players. And then they kept asking me questions. And then that led me to put more in there. And then it had to be 4 booklets. And then I was like, you know what? This is going to be a whole game. And they were all for it. And next thing you know, I'm sitting there printing them in my shed and mailing them to people.
And what was the and just so everyone can see if you're not familiar, so here are the 4 booklets, right? Yep. And so it starts off with Men and Mutants, all right? So a little play on OD&D, right? So Men and Mutants, that's volume 1, and then it moves on to Physics and Sorcerers. So just from the names alone, you can start to see that it's got a different. It's definitely a mix of fantasy and science fiction. Then we go to Horrors and Treasure. All right. And then finally, the 4th of the booklet is the Underworld and Borderlands Adventures. So, what made you decide to go with this kind of a format?
So when I was originally typing it up for the players at home, our wilderness exploration tables that we used were the OD&D tables, and so I always have those little. I printed out little booklets of them for myself at the table, and the players were always thought that those little booklets were so interesting, like it was some lost lore or some tome that they weren't supposed to look at. And then that became kind of a center point for us, because original D&D was really the turning point for our group, saying like, oh man, this right here, this we can mess with. It has
Right.
just enough for us to toy around with it. And so stylistically, I was like, it'd be really neat to have it all in like a little box set. And I was like, I could probably try and go with a similar style and try and figure out the closest font equivalents and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it became part of the hobby for me, was messing with the layout of the books and playing
Right.
around with it. And then we got that feeling when we had the first game where I didn't even have the box sets yet, but I had little booklets and I brought them out to the table. I didn't have to lug my giant cart around with all the books in it, and all the players were super happy with it. And I just decided, yeah, we'll go with the booklets, the
Right.
hand printed ones. And then the boxes, that was an interesting one, because for a while I had no clue what I was going to do about those boxes. I had found some way to like hand make one out of cardboard, and it was kind of rough, and did that for like the first 30 prints.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I can't, it takes me like 20 or 30 minutes to make each box by
Right.
hand and then wrap it in this vinyl stuff. So I did eventually find an American distributor for the wood grain box look, which
Right.
the wood grain look instead of the white box look
Mm-hmm.
was a recommendation from Griff Morgan. Actually,
Right.
I met him at Arnicon, and I was showing him my booklets and talking about it, and he said, "You know what? It'd be pretty cool if you could do the wood grain look instead of the
Right.
white look." I was like, "That would be pretty cool."
Yeah.
It added new problems.
Yeah.
But
So everyone can see what you're talking about. There is there is the look, and you can see the wood grain in it. Very, very similar. I don't have the wood grain white box. I have the white box.
Right.
But you can actually see that right behind me where I'm pointing to right there. And then there's Castles and Crusades variant of that, and I have one for Swords and Wizardry. That's the 4 booklet, kind of thing, and then you have it here. So yeah, it's definitely something that a lot of publishers look to give. I'd say it's like an homage to it. It's not
Yeah.
so much of a oh, we're going to steal this thing because this is the best way of presenting something,
Right.
but it's certainly a throwback to it. And I just think it's really neat. And it's nice to have so many of them as the same size as somebody who looks at shelf space as a commodity, so it's like, a scarce commodity, and, they just sit well on the shelf, whether you're displaying them forward looking or putting them on the side. That's why the side panel is really nice to have as well. So, yeah, it's clear that a lot of thought went into putting it in there. I'm also a big fan of the dice. I know that it might not seem like a big deal, but the purple with the white light, writing is like really easy to see, and so that's a pretty cool thing. And then the character sheets that come in, because the box came with everything you could possibly need, and the I forget if this came with the little wooden pencil. I don't think it did.
Oh, not this time. I thought about doing that, but
yeah, what is that? The golf pencils, right? So
right.
It's like, yeah, but here are the character sheets, and again, just a nice layout on a card. Good card stock and everything. I never write on any of those things. It's like I try to keep everything of a box set pristine. Like I said, I have plenty of other dice to use. That's why I never opened them. But
the dice being readable was important for me too.
Yeah.
You notice I'm wearing glasses this time, which I wasn't wearing at the convention. I've been ignoring my eyesight for years. I was the only one in the family that didn't have glasses.
Right.
And I was like, no, I've got perfect vision. And then I've never been able to see my dice properly. So they have to be like white and black or high contrast, whatever it is.
Right.
Well, then I just got these things. I'm like, oh, I can read all my dice now. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it usually helps. Yeah, it usually definitely helps. So let me see who's in the chat and just start saying hello to everyone, because I know some of you were probably here. Yeah, there's already a lot of chats going on, so that's awesome too. And Xander, hi, how are you? ATM, Good to see you as well. Oh, let me switch. Let me switch screens here. Let me go to my comment screen. That way people can see this here. There we go. It's like
Hey.
and yeah, talk about visually impaired, kind of thing. It's like I learned this like way late into streaming, and I was like, you know what? The overlays and everything, they kind of blurred out what people were saying, and I was like, all right, I could try to fix that. Dan is here someplace. He's coming. Let's see, right here. There is Dan, and and this is your. So I see that you're in here. So
Yeah.
it's always good to see too. And Baron, how's it going? Oh my God, late to the doctor is coming. I order a pregnancy test. Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking of going to like starting at 7:15 now, because it always just seems to, no matter when I try to, schedule things, it's like to shatter the mean meme of, or the derogatory thing of us old school gamers. Yeah. Most of us are married with children, and we have lives
Yeah.
outside of this. We're not in our mom's basement, and that kind of thing. And, you know, as a as somebody who is a hobbyist, that none of my family share this hobby at all. So it's like they're supportive to our to a certain extent, but it's they don't quite get it,
It's a
and
big hobby to share. I mean, it really
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like an all-consuming hobby in
Yeah,
some
I
ways.
wish it was. No, there's more expensive hobbies, to be honest with
Oh,
you. It's like,
definitely.
I could be Warhammer 40K, and it would cost me probably 10 times the amount that
Yeah, that would be wild.
that this is. Yeah. So, yeah, some of those other hobbies are really quite expensive. And, you know, uh, even paintball was expensive. I mean, we went all in on paintball
Oh, yeah.
back in my youth. It was like, oh no, you can get a $500 air gun, and go with that. And that's probably cheap in comparison to what they are now. But
Yeah, they're pretty expensive now. I
yeah,
haven't
yeah,
been
I'm assuming that
paintball.
they can run a lot.
I haven't done
Let's
paintball in
see.
years, though.
So here is yeah. So my character at CNY in Matt's game found a lightsaber, and then got turned into a white, then killed everyone. Yeah. Well, we didn't quite kill everyone,
Almost.
but
Yeah.
yeah, we
Everyone
didn't.
did die, but
Yeah, everybody did die. Yes, everyone died, and to one extent or another. And so let me see. So let's share. So Matt was running us through Dracula in space. All right, and so we were going in, and we knew we were going to face a vampire, at some point. So it was like Matt was very generous and let us kind of prepare for, whatever. So we're all picking up like silver weapons and everything like that. None of that mattered in the end. It was like it might have helped a little bit, right? But we were like, all right, yeah, we're going into this thing, and I'm not going to spoil the adventure so much, because I think the way that we went through it and resolved it was pretty unique, but certainly possible.
yeah.
But I think it came down to the dice rolls that happened in that succession that allowed for that. But what was really great about the experience of a TPK was that we all died in a slightly different way, or at least our groupings died in a slightly different way. And yet, even though we had a TPK, I think the last of our magic users, from a critical success on his fireball, and then there must be like I'm assuming that there's a table that you roll on to
Yeah.
see what it did.
He
So yeah, just
he
explain that one moment, how that worked.
so he was in there, and I think most of the party had either died or
Yeah.
been rendered unalive for the
Yes.
fight. But he goes and he's like, well, I'm just going to go all out. It's a convention game. And I told them that he could have any of the spells in the book for the convention,
Right.
because I can just print out the spell list and say, you
Right.
don't get any descriptions. You just pick one based on its name.
Mhm.
But he saw a 12th level spell called Volcano.
All right.
and the chances of him getting that spell off were 2.76%. So rolling double boxcars on 2d6.
Yeah.
Um, and we were all like, okay, well, it's not going to happen, but let's just see what goes. And by golly, he got two sixes,
Right.
and the spell goes off, which in turn definitely. I wasn't expecting a volcano to be summoned aboard the ship,
Right.
but I think it was quite spectacular.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know in one of the convention games at Dave Con, another player had attempted the same thing, but then critically miscast, which has
Right.
a big chart, and he
Right.
accidentally cast Black Hole on the party,
Right.
which didn't end well. But
Right.
normally with Dracula in space, I count it as a success if the players simply survive the ship and get off. you
Right.
know, like obviously with the name on the cover, Dracula's somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Which whether or not the players can either find him or beat him, we'll see. I haven't had anybody beat him other than you guys though, because technically
Right.
we gave that as a beat because it destroyed the entire ship.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was.
So,
That's why I say we snatched victory out of a TPK, which
Yep.
is a pretty. It's a lot of fun. When you can, when you can be successful and yet everybody died. So
I like the idea that the lava from the volcano cooled into some asteroid, and so there's
yeah.
just a Dracula floating like it's the Alien Romulus movie.
Yeah.
But no, I was quite surprised by that. And somehow Dan, that is the second or third time he's found a lightsaber in one of my games,
Okay.
and I don't give them out like candy.
Yeah.
It's just it's like, oh, he opened the one door in the entire dungeon that has a laser sword behind it.
Right.
He's done that every time. I can't remember. I think it was 3 or 4 of the players had turned undead in that fight. So, which also added some fun to it because even though they were out, they still got to play in a way fighting you guys.
Right.
We also had Roger at the table, which was
Yes.
quite fun. The runner of CNY Con.
Right.
But which, what's funny is I had planned on doing Dracula in Space as a random pickup game. Like I only had Dungeon of the Fell Lord scheduled. And then he messages me and says, you have to run Dracula in Space Sunday morning, 9 a.m. so that I can play in it. But I use a grappling hook.
Let's see. So my character at CNY used a grappling hook to mildly impede a gold giant as he blasted radiation over half the party. So that must have been a different group, correct?
Yeah, that was in the Dungeon of the Fell Lord game, which was equally interesting, but the party definitely handled it in a different way. They actually left the dungeon in the middle of it, went to the town nearby, and started shopping for more equipment to go back into the dungeon after losing a party member. They were very meticulous about it. But yeah, one of the party members in that game turned to radioactive goo. Not very fun. Well, it was fun for me, but the Dracula in Space game, though, I think y'all stayed on the same level the entire game.
Yeah, no, we didn't change. We didn't change levels on the ship, and I think we took a pretty direct route. There was that one side corridor that I'm assuming it was on the side, and the one with the water dripping down and the grates. I'm not going to spoil it too much. And we were like, nah, we're not going to go that way. And we went further down the hallway, and then we encountered, pretty much well, that was really the last space that we went into.
Yeah.
Right. Because, we never got to see Dracula. We didn't get that far into it, but we met our demise in one location against, a couple of, we pressed the wrong button on the, it was like 3 buttons, and, again, I'm not going to blow anything. Plus I don't quite remember which button we pushed. I remember one was like, oh, maybe that's a flusher. It was like it looks like it flushes the
Definitely
paint.
flush something,
Yeah,
but
flush something. And but anyway, no, it was a really great experience.
that's
Um,
good to hear.
it was only like I played in a home game, virtually, online prior to that, and my only experience was probably about like 3 or 4 sessions I played, and I played a Kobold fighter, and I had a great time playing the Kobold fighter. Um, and that particular game master was including like firearms. I know we were doing like a
Yeah.
firearms trade and everything. So I was, seeing that there was a nice mix of both technology and, and fantasy, kind of rolled up in there, and the monsters that we were facing in that home game as well were, nice and varied, and there were like these weird insect things that were, fighting and stuff like that, and crazy frog like mutation frogs and all kinds of stuff. I mean, so the game really does have a good mix of weirdness, let's say. Maybe not quite Gonzo. Would you describe it as, or it's more Gamma World kind of weirdness to it?
Yeah, and well, for our group and
Mm.
for the years that we've been playing, even before we were adventuring in the Borderlands, we always kind of saw the science and fantasy side of things always mixing together. I mean, I'm a huge fan of like Clark Ashton Smith, especially Clark Ashton Smith, but
Mm.
um, and a lot of the even just the cover arts from old Weird Tales and stuff, it would be like, oh, here's this sorceress alien from another world, or
Mm.
the evil demons are riding spaceships or something towards the planet and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, and so it always just sort of clicked in my head of like, oh, okay, you're a couple explorers going into deep caverns, and then you find something you don't understand, and next thing you know, you're in a barrier peaks sort of situation,
Right.
or finding computer screens that you think are black mirrors of witches and stuff like that. Um, and then with Barrows and Borderlands, yeah, we've definitely I amped up the sci-fi elements to get that sort of post-apocalyptic gamma world feel in
Hmm.
there as well. But I've also I've noticed some of the players on the server or the other referees, they'll run it with less or more of the sci-fi depending on what they're trying to get
Right.
out of it. Um, but yeah, mine are known for being quite well Dracula in space
Yeah.
styled.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and
I
that
mean,
was
it definitely it had so many different um so many different feelings for me, going into it. Like I was like, all right, it's kind of like it reminded me. I know you're too young to remember the show, but like Night Stalker,
Hmm,
so that it really reminded me of that. I highly recommend you check that series out if you can find it anywhere. But yeah, it's like it was like these monsters and everything that would just be in a setting that you would never imagine them to be, and so it had that kind of feel for me as well. It even looks like if anybody is old enough to remember Night Stalker and everything, I mean, just the cover, will make you think of that. It's like yeah, I can see where you have these classic monsters just in the wrong setting, kind of thing. And,
yeah.
and it worked. It really did work. Even though we didn't get to, actually encounter Dracula, I'm sure the outcome would have been the same, if not worse. Right? I don't think that we would have survived regardless.
I get surprised by players sometimes though, and
Mhm.
that's also one of the fun bits about old school games is that even though the monsters are quite hard, they can also they wind up being more player decision focused as far as defeating them, because you can
Yes.
get it's not, it matters a lot less what's on your sheet, but if y'all can really think through how to kill a
Mhm.
vampire, y'all can really
Yeah.
do some damage there.
Yeah.
um and I remember like writing the module too, the early stuff, I was still like, oh well, should I just come up with um a Dracula-esque vampire? And I was thinking about it, and then Um, I was telling somebody on the server that I wanted the adventure to kind of feel like, if Dracula was in space, and it just sort of clicked. I'm like, oh, I'll just do exactly that. It will be Dracula in space.
Mm.
No weird alien version of him. No,
Right.
it
Yeah.
is Hammer horror in space.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
Which
also grew up.
I think is it really does work. It
It,
really does work. It helped kind of set the, because we knew we were in for, a tough adventure. We knew that was going to happen. But,
right.
I just love the fact the way it ended up, a lot of fun TPKs, and that's something that people don't understand that haven't been to convention games and everything. And so I'll ask you about that as well. Um, What's the difference for you for running at a convention and running at your either a home game or an online game or something like that?
So the main differences at a convention are kind of pre-game concessions, like for
Mhm.
example giving players access to all the spells,
Mhm.
or like y'all going through and I'm like, go ahead and prepare, buy as much equipment as you had, because mainly because I don't know how much time you guys would have thought over it before the session started.
Right.
um, but in my a lot of my home games and my home campaign uh, feel a bit like that, albeit they don't always end in a volcano being summoned. But
Right.
I usually try to run them no different. I also, um, most of the original Barrows and Borderlands campaign was ran at the local game store for like
Mhm.
10 to 20 folks showing up at the table with rotating characters and such. So
Right.
um, I'm almost used to the convention feel of
Right.
like, well, I don't necessarily know who's going to be at the table today. Um, I might know where they're going because the people that regularly show up have told me what they're doing, but um, I'm used to like jumping right in, not wasting any time with it. That's another thing is the convention games. I also have to keep in mind that people have other tables to get to. So,
Right.
I'm not going to sit there and spend the entire convention session describing a door to you guys or anything like
Right.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, luckily, y'all were pretty quick on party decisions. There were no big hangups during that game. Um, and I think the only time y'all sat and thought about something was those buttons. And that was only for
Yeah.
like about
Yeah. So,
5 minutes before
yeah.
somebody went up and said,
Yeah. Uh,
um,
and
but then now with the Dungeon of the Fell Lord game that I ran earlier, or the day before, I did have like shopping being done at the table mid
mm,
session. I was fine with that one mainly because everybody at the table got so excited to go into town. I'm like, sure, that's if that's
yeah.
what y'all want to do for the convention game, y'all can do that.
All right.
Uh, they did manage to get 2 delves into the dungeon out of it though in like a
Really?
2 hour
All right.
session. Yeah, I was quite surprised.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I personally would never do shopping. You know what I'm saying? Just as a,
I was so surprised.
I'm like,
But well, I
no,
think
no,
what
I
it
wouldn't.
was is they had gone in and then realized how deadly the dungeon actually was, and we're
Mm,
like, okay, we've got to go get some guys. We got to get
yeah.
some pole arms, some 10-foot poles, anything we can get to take down in this
Yeah.
dungeon.
I basically what I did with my Hyperborea, I was like, listen, you're sixth level adventurers. I'm pretty sure they were sixth level. And so I said to him, I was like, you just tell me what gear you're looking to use, and I'm going to assume that you, an experienced adventurer, has it. Unless you come out with
Yeah,
something like so bizarre. The other thing that I did with my Hyperborea game, and actually Dan was the person I directed this to because he wanted to play a warlock. I knew he was going to play a warlock before the convention even, and I didn't want to get hung up looking through the rule books,
right.
and seeing like, well, what do your spells actually do? I was like, no, no, just tell me what spell you're casting and tell me what it does. All right, I'm not gonna. I didn't even bring the rule books with me actually, because they're heavy. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
was like, I'm not bringing these, lunking these things along. I was like, you just tell me what the spell does and what the mechanics behind it are. I wasn't concerned about whether it was a range or area of effect or even to a certain extent how many die he was going to roll for damage of it. As long as it wasn't, oh, I'm rolling 47 d6 to do the no. Keep it reasonable. And it was just such a good way to just streamline the whole thing. And
Right.
we were still able to run in 3 hours and 45 minutes. And that included about 35 minutes of creating characters at the beginning. So
Yeah.
from, it was a solid 3 hours straight of gameplay,
That's
and
pretty
not
good.
looking at rules or worrying about those kinds of things. And it was just fast paced and everything. And your game was very similar, right? It was just, it didn't seem like we bogged down on any real particular thing. And like you said, the only time that we came to something where we were wondering is those three buttons,
Yep.
which one of these three are we going to try to go to? Because it was in a different language, right? It was like,
Right.
probably, vampiric language or, ancient Romanian or something, whatever it was going to be. And, but it was a lot of fun. And, if for the people out there, if you have not gone to conventions, particularly small conventions, and then played in some of these game systems that are not the mainstream game systems, you are going to have such an incredible experience that you're going to walk away. You're going to have these stories and talking about, I use that picture for both the thumbnail of all the dead characters, from the game and everything like that.
I love that picture.
It's just a memorable experience. And thanks for Dan for having that stamp, the dead stamp that he put on everybody's thing. And then there was 3 players that had to put, he wrote "un" in front of the dead stamp. So it was like 3 were left undead and the rest were all dead.
It was a very nice photo, and I use it now to show my other players. I'm like, okay, this is the kind of game you're getting into. This can happen.
Yeah.
But also, like, pacing in and out of convention games is something that a lot of people spend a lot of time thinking about, as far as how do you pace your game without
Right.
getting in the way of whatever they're doing, or like for example, doing the spells, like you were saying, or by
Yeah.
just giving out the list at the beginning. Those little things can speed it up because there's 2 reasons I can see why people at a convention are signing up to play a game. And it's because they want something fun and quick in that little 2 hour or 3 hour or whatever segment that they have. Because maybe they don't get to play these games with the rest of their group, or they want to try out the system. And most of the time, stuff like things you would be doing in downtime, like magical research or shopping, are not what part of the system they're wanting to try out at a convention. So they want to know how combat feels and what sort of monsters this game has, or whatever the events of the adventure module are going to be. But it also, like, not being long-winded is a big one for me. I can't stand saying. I grew up with both my dad, and then whenever I was working in like film and theater, with everybody saying, don't use big words, keep what you're saying short. And then also, like, the I don't know if you ever heard of the George Orwell rules of writing, but they
Not
are
specifically, no.
I pulled them up just because I was, we're talking about pacing, but he says, never use a metaphor, simile, or figure of speech. Never use a long word when a short one will do.
Right. I've heard that.
If it's possible to cut a word, cut it. And, never use passive, use action, those sort of things. But the big one there is, like, I try whenever I'm running those convention games to be like, the door is made of silver. The door looks painted green, instead of being like the vermilion paint upon the door is chipping and all this other stuff. But and then I also never tell exactly what a monster is in my home game, but sometimes at a convention I will, just to keep the pacing. Like, if a party of orcs is showing up, I might describe them as just pig-faced mutants to the players at my home game, but at a convention, they're like, okay, we're fighting orcs. We don't have time for us to figure out what they are.
Yeah. Now, I think I mentioned you and I, we both played in Dropship together. So you had some opportunities to play in games So what were some of the games that you played other than, we already know Dropship, but what were some of the other games you played in?
I didn't wind up getting to play too many because I was sitting at that vendor booth for quite a
Right,
while. But I did play. I played in Dropship, and I also played in. Chance was running B&B, but his
okay,
games of B&B are quite different than what I run. It was
right,
the Carson Colombo game. So
okay,
he was using the Midkemia Press Cars book, that city module, along with B&B, and then the entire adventure was based on a Columbo episode.
all
So it
right,
was quite hilarious, very funny
yeah,
game. It was supposed to be a murder mystery, but Lord Matthias was at the
yeah,
table
yeah,
with us, and his son was there too.
right,
And, and his son, the moment we got in there and he found out that his character had a firearm, he
mm,
said, "When are we going to shoot something in
yeah,
a murder mystery game?" And uh, I I think we did have a shootout at the end of the session, which was quite fun. Um, and we had, uh, I guess we solved the murder, but I think we killed the murderer.
right. Well,
Well,
that's solved.
it's solved.
That's solved.
Uh,
Yeah,
but so I played in that. I'm trying to think if I played in any others. That might be it because I was running around the rest of the convention at
right,
the vendor booth. Um, I know that this time, because it was my first time at Central New York Con, but
right,
not my first convention. I had decided that I wasn't going to sign up for as much so that I could have some time to look around at what people had and
right, right,
what other tables were playing. Because I made the mistake one year. I think this is the last Arnicon, which was a lot of fun, but I didn't give myself any free time in my schedule because
right,
I signed up for every
hmm,
5 minutes I had. I signed up for something.
right,
So by the end of the first day, I had realized that, oh man, I hadn't seen the vendor's booth. I hadn't gone and talked to anybody here. So,
right,
but Central New York Con, that was a really good space. I think next time I go, I will sign up for more games just
right.
because uh, there were good bits of like breaks in the schedule already.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of hard
Roger
for me to
does a
mess
great
myself up.
job with creating, creating space in between. And then there was like there's certainly like I believe it was like a full half hour or an hour where there was time for lunch kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, some games might have overlapped a little bit into those, but for the most part, yeah, he gives an hour in between each game. So I like that.
Yeah.
See, they give a full hour in between each game, and I mean, it worked great, and it's that's a phenomenal convention to go to.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have nothing to go do in June, and it's the third week of June, or second week of June actually, second
Yeah.
or third, I forget exactly when. Um, I believe
Was
it's was it 14, 15? It's like it's on the verge of
12th through the 14th.
yeah, 12th through the 14th. So second week of June, going into the third week of June, basically. And it's a different town, but it's technically Utica, New York.
Yeah.
So very nice drive there, and it's a nice quiet town because it's on the outskirts of the city itself, but it's plenty of, I mean, great venue. The hotel is really nice as well, and yeah, I mean, it's a great convention to go to.
Definitely better than my last trip to New York because the last time I went was in January and
Right.
I was in Buffalo
All right.
delivering the Kickstarter boxes
Yeah.
and that was quite cold. So
Yeah. Yeah. January is a tough month. In the Northeast, it's like you just don't know when that storm is going to roll up from the south and meet with Canadian air from the north, and all of a
yeah.
sudden you have a freaking blizzard. You
And the
know,
lake
and
effect going down
yeah,
Lake Erie on
yeah,
the way back. I hit that on my drive back and it was just total whiteout for a little bit of the drive and
yeah,
I was like, oh man. But luckily George and Dave, the Emperor's Choice guys, they had their heater on in the house when we were
yeah,
gaming. So
yeah,
my South Carolina self was having a lot of trouble with the
yeah.
cold up there.
And so
But
that's where you're coming up from. You're coming up from South
South
Carolina?
Carolina, yeah.
Yeah. So what part of South Carolina?
So I was just living in outside of Charleston, South
All right.
Carolina, and but now I've moved back towards like the South Carolina North Carolina border,
Yeah.
and we moved back towards the family and stuff. I mean,
Mhm.
I wasn't too far away in Charleston, but it was like three
Right.
hours,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. That's
and the traffic is horrible in Charleston. And I can't
yeah.
say too much because I know a couple of the people listening that live in New York, and traffic's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah. Depending on where you are, but yeah. Yeah. Traffic.
let me not the traffic, but the some of the drivers I noticed were
Well, yeah.
very
They
interesting
can
in
be
New
aggressive.
York.
Yes. Um,
But
but yeah, no, I asked because I was in South Carolina. I was at Fort Jackson
okay,
for
yeah,
about 5 months. The only time we ever got out was we got out to go to the mall in oh my gosh, was that Columbia,
yeah,
Columbia. So that was the big thing, the mall. You go to the mall, and but other than that, I really didn't have uh, too much going around in the state of South Carolina. I mean, later on in years, had stayovers and whatnot.
right.
Usually traveling from New York to Florida, and South Carolina is a good stopping off point as well.
If you
But
do the New York to Florida drive again, hit me up
mhm.
because I'm on the highway from
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
So
yeah, definitely. Well, I don't know if I'm doing that any longer, but that was certainly something we used to do. About 7, 8 years ago,
yeah,
when we went down to Disney, we drove. We were like, "Hey, let's try driving." I was like, "Nah, no, it's too easy to fly for that kind
yeah.
of thing." But
That's
anyway,
I
let's
was
see.
thinking that next year's CNY Con I was going to try driving up because it's not too bad. But
Yeah, there's Edgelord. Our weather separates the men from the boys. Yes,
yeah,
you know.
that -10 wind chill, and I was sitting there calling George and
Yeah.
Dave about it, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I don't mind
Like, are you
cold.
kidding me? That's
I don't
crazy.
mind cold. It's like when you get 4 inches an hour of snow falling down. That's
Yeah,
the pain in the ass. It's not the cold. Um, it's the driving conditions.
right. But yeah, I'm this upcoming convention season. I'm definitely so I'm going to be at DaveCon and ArnaCon again this year,
Yeah,
uh, or the next ones,
yeah, yeah,
and then definitely gonna I have to do CMYCon again because that was so much fun. But
yeah. That was yeah, really really good time. That was my second year. I will always go to that unless I have something that interferes. Some family thing. I already know that I'm going to miss Shire Con, which is in
mm,
Connecticut, lower portion of Connecticut, right where it butts up with, well, it mostly butts up with New York, but down by me. And I have to go to a Canadian wedding that same weekend. So I'm like, oh, God, it's like, so that's going to be bad. But yeah, CNY is always a go to for me. I'll always go there. Um, I do. I go to Rising Phoenix, which is in Milford, Massachusetts. That's a really good con too.
I've heard of that one.
ShireCon is a great one. I mean, you would like that. It's a little bit smaller than Rogers CNY, and then the other Rising Phoenix in Massachusetts is about twice the size, or almost 3 times the size of it. It's about 6 to 800,
Okay.
but really, really good convention as well. I'm really happy with the cons that I go to. That's like, hey, you know what? And then I like hitting the smaller cons, like for one. So Dave Con 2028, I'm going to make it a real effort to get out there because Robert Coons is going. And
Yeah,
it's like, and
I'm
just
looking forward to that.
have the opportunity to meet him, and then hopefully, knock on wood, all of those other luminaries, old school luminaries, are still around in 2 years.
Did you
But
hear that they might be releasing that Caliburn supplement?
yes,
He was. I
yeah,
saw that on X, and I
so
was. I am so hoping that it comes out before that convention so that I
Yeah,
can have them sign it at the convention.
yeah,
It'd be really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. So hopefully it
But
does, and yeah, but that might be the one where I'm like, all right, I'm not going to anything else but this one, and
yeah,
I'm gonna drive and stay overnight, and on the way and do that whole thing, and just make it a 5 day experience out of there, to do that. But does New York still smell bad? No, I mean, it didn't smell bad there. I mean, you mean from the
It's-
from the Canadian smoke? Um, that stopped a couple days ago. So the Canadian wildfires were not impacting us. But
I
thank you very
missed
much
that
for the
whole I
$2,
missed
by the
that
way.
whole news section of the
Yeah.
Canadian smoke coming down because I was too busy writing, and then somebody mentioned it to me.
Mm,
I'm like, what's happening? What's
yeah.
falling apart now? So
Now you mentioned another adventure that you ran there. Is that because I didn't see that
yeah,
on your table for sale? But
that is one of the work in progress adventures, the
okay,
Dungeon of the Fell Lord, and
okay,
that one's gonna probably be a next year release if everything goes exactly the way I want it to. But because it is quite a large mega dungeon, so we have
right.
those are the maps that I had out on the table.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah, those are awesome maps.
So, um, and that one was quite fun to run. I obviously knew that they're not going to get to every room during a convention game, but they were
Yeah.
pretty swift and they actually got farther than most of my home players have gotten. Um, and then other than that adventure, I'm almost finished with Fort Nevermore, which is the next adventure module, but more focused on wilderness exploration with a few dungeons in the area. Um, and then obviously I've been working on the next Boogaloo supplement, which should be the last Boogaloo supplement. Um,
That's number three, correct?
yeah, three Galoo.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So I
uh,
saw, yeah, I saw you put a post, I think on Facebook, was it, where I saw
yeah,
that one, or
Facebook
someplace? I've
and
seen it someplace.
I put it
Um,
on everywhere, but yeah, the
yeah,
Peter Mullen cover on there, and then
yeah.
I've also got some art from Bill. He's on X's Wart. But he's done some pretty good stuff. I can't. Well, I haven't shared it yet, but I had a little picture of it at the convention. I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but that little dragon on my price list, that'll
Right.
be in there too. That's the radioactive dragon artwork.
Okay. So
Oh,
yeah,
well,
he's
thank
just
you.
talking about that now, Bo. So
Yeah,
um,
so I guess in queue of coming out first is I'm only a couple pages away from being done with the Barrow Mail, which is kind of a supplement while also being a uh, miniatures war game stuff. It's my write up on some chainmail rules mixed
mhm,
with some pre D&D stuff, and then also just some of the weird things that we've come up with on the server because we do a lot of world hopping, and so one of the
mhm,
worlds that we've been playing in is a much more um, like Anglo-Saxony 700s to 1000
mhm.
AD setting. Um, so that write up's been pretty good. I've also got a lot of the things in there could also work like the Boogaloo supplements do, where they can plug in to Barrows and Borderlands, or we use it in our home game a lot for mercenaries and henchmen. Um,
Yeah.
it's abstractified combat. But then after Barrow Mail will be, and Barrow Mail was originally going to be part of Three Galoo, which is going to come out next, but
Right.
um, it got Three Galoo got too big to make one thing. So
Right.
once I started to get to like the 160 page mark on a supplement, I started scratching my head and I asked some of the players on the server, and they all recommended that I separate the two into two different, because one
Yeah.
had grown, especially Baromel had grown quite a bit. It's about 60 pages in its own right at the moment. Um, and then after those, I've got Fort Nevermore, which is the wilderness exploration
Mhm.
adventure. Now that one's it's wilderness exploration with a collection of dungeons in the area that can be explored, um, as well as some faction play mechanics. So
Right.
the whole idea of that adventure is that you could run it conventionally with a normal party going
Right.
through, or you could separate players into factions and run it more war game style if you so
Right.
chose. Um, and then Three Glue, that supplement, while it does have new rules and mechanics and classes and stuff for Barrows and Borderlands, it also is filled with a little bit of a like a mini gazetteer of our home campaign setting
Mhm.
and dungeons and adventure locations in the world. So we've got stuff like the Pyramid of Doom that's in there. Hey, you got DM Blackwell.
Hey
We were
Todd,
just
how's
talking
it
about your
going?
game earlier.
Yeah, yeah. We were reminiscing of our adventure there as well, and so how
But
are the zombies? Is that directed to you? No, at Techno Babel.
yeah,
Uh,
talked about he did Zombie Rain. Um,
okay.
but the next, other than those three books,
Hmm.
um, I know I've been posting a lot about Dungeons of Fell Lord. That one, I I I don't know exactly how I'm going to split it up because it's quite massive. I think I'm at just on the first 5 levels. I'm nearing like 1,500 rooms.
Right.
So um, I probably will not be releasing that one as a hand printed booklet because I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can print that myself.
Right.
Um, but uh, I'll have more stuff coming out about when that's coming as I get closer to the end of writing it. Um, but other than the supplements, the adventure modules are mainly what I'm going to be focusing on going
Hmm.
forward because I did not want to bloat Barrows and Borderlands or have like second editions or things like that. So
Right.
um, I felt like 3 supplements was enough for what we actually play with at our table, and
Yeah.
then
And they'll
uh,
fit in the box too.
and
So
they'll
it's
all
like,
fit in the
yeah,
box.
yeah,
So
the three additional supplements, as well as the adventure. I mean, there's room in the box for probably three supplements and adventure size packets like that. I was going to ask you about like the page length that you kind of like. Do you have like kind of like a uniform page length for adventure modules versus supplements, whatever you were kind of touching on that?
it depends. I have a maximum when it comes to the
Yeah.
booklet size. I found that out with the Kickstarter, the Portal to Adventure stuff. Was I
Mhm.
can't print and put together more than 100 pages in the book, which
Right.
winds up being like 25 sheets of paper in a booklet.
Yeah.
So, and that's just mainly because after that it won't close.
Right.
So, um, as far and so with the supplements, I usually have like a
It was Roger.
range between 80 to 100 that I aim for. And if I go beyond that, I start thinking, okay, well, maybe I do need another supplement, or maybe this one has to be printed somewhere else
Yeah.
and sold on the site, which wouldn't wouldn't make me upset. It's just I I like doing the hand printing stuff, but I know that it's not something I'll be able to do forever.
Right.
Um, but and that also brings up the only other thing for the core game that I'm doing, other than new adventure modules and adventure locations and some other worlds, is potentially doing a combined hardback of the game and the supplements. So,
Hmm.
if folks wanted to get them a la carte style, they could, or they could just get the one that has them in the same, like 8.5 by 11 hardback. Uh, I would probably have to do a Kickstarter for that one though, just
Right.
because of the amount of art that would need to go in and getting it printed. Because I'd want it to be
Yeah.
something I could order a lot of and have to sell rather than do a print on demand. And usually you can also um, save money on the price for the customer if you get, you can get them in
Yeah.
bulk.
If
So you
you
don't
get
have to,
50 copies of something as opposed to print on demand, you
right.
know, and I think that there's probably a little bit more or better control, like quality control over
Yeah.
printings when you're doing, you know, larger orders of printing, because then if you get a couple that are like, hey, you know what, this is not acceptable, and you send it back in, like when you're checking it out. With print on demand, sometimes it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and you'll get it, it'll be like, oh, all right, this isn't great, and I mean that's just the unluckiness of it, because for the most part, most of the print on demands are fine, whether it's
Yeah.
Amazon or Drive Through RPG or maybe Lulu. I mean, Lulu is probably the shakiest of them, to be honest with you. But unless you're getting soft cover. Soft
Right.
cover, they're typically soft cover are a little bit more reliable as
Mm.
far as printing is concerned. I've had trouble with hard covers from multiple different print on demand type of things. So I think they have a harder time with those, and so that's why I kind of like the fact that you do these pamphlet sized and
Yeah.
going in conventions that I intend to go into, so I can always hit there and buy some stuff. And yeah, I'll definitely look into getting the Boogaloo expansions and and then the other adventure that you're putting together as well.
Yeah, that one will be. I'm quite excited about that adventure too, because I'm trying to also demonstrate how we play at our table with
Right.
um, the amount of players we have, and also uh, doing that sort of faction style play and a little bit of wargaming mixed into it, but while
Ultra.
still letting people run it conventionally.
I'll check into that ultra because you shouldn't be getting that many. Some people's things are just different. They're different settings for their own their own experience. Because, but if everybody's getting a lot of ads, let me double check that and
They've
see.
chosen Hunter as their target for the day. The
Yeah, I
ad.
know. It's sometimes it's like if people sit through ads without skipping them, then they tend to send more.
Yeah.
There's no way around some of these things. Sometimes it's like I know I had some trouble with. Let me see. Let me see if I can change that. Yeah, it's set on low frequency.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so let's do. Um,
I'm still learning all the YouTube ins and outs from my own channel. With luckily, I bother Fox Off RPG all the time with
yeah,
questions about why is my restream doing this, or why is YouTube doing this. But
I
while you're looking,
Hunter, I just turned off the ads completely. So even though it was set on low, I set it off. So you might have to refresh for it not to start sending you ads. But yeah, let me know. Like I said, you might have to refresh for it to stop sending you ads.
damn you,
All right.
YouTube.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is what it is. It's like you get you know you get these like weird things like on a recent stream. I'm not going to say whose stream it was, but they had like a short intro music in there that was a non-copyrighted thing, and I got not a strike but a claim. It was like
Right.
they just let anybody freaking claim anything. It's like they
Yep.
don't even have a genuine claim to it, and they just leave it wide open for anybody to claim it.
Yeah.
And it's a definitely a broken system. Um,
I've
but
definitely noticed a lot of people bringing up the claims that get randomly. I think it's all automated.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so, but as far as the adventure module stuff, I think Dungeons of the Fell 2 will wind up more than likely being like a hardback, softback choice.
right,
Um, but the other two, or the other three, so Baramel, Three Glue, and Fort Nevermore, those will all still be the 5.5 by 8.5
right,
split style.
yeah,
Um, and I also, like when I do those, Dracula in Space is probably about, I don't know, like with the Fort Nevermore, that one might be big enough to be considered like the supplement size. Like it'll probably near the 80-page range more than likely. Hopefully,
yeah.
I
So
don't go
about
too
four
far
times. Yeah,
above that.
this is 23 pages.
Yeah, that's
And
the
it's fairly. I mean, it's a thin
yeah.
book, so it will a supplement like your regular core book
That one's
is
like
61.
70. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, well, at least, number one, volume one is
right, yeah.
61.
I know too with like with the supplements. I wound up having to get a different stapler to staple them in with, and different, because eventually you get to that, anything above like 60 pages on a booklet starts to get iffy, and then you got to get the heavy duty staplers and stuff and the book presses, and then as you get like I said, the max being 100 is like, that is the last moment that book's going to close normally,
Right.
because beyond
Yeah.
that it's a hit or miss.
Yeah. So
But
something. Yeah. I just wanted to respond here. I mean, yes, it's certainly um, it's certainly a different experience. Um, I mean, I'm kind of trapped into doing virtual, and then live experience, in-person experiences just at conventions.
yeah,
Um, there's just no other way for me to engage, and there are certainly benefits to doing online gaming as well. There's certainly detriments, as well, but I think that the benefits outweigh those the downside of it. At least in my experience, it's. I mean, I've played with. I had one gamer group one time where they were like four different continents. It was like,
yeah.
someone was
Well,
from Brazil, Morocco, the Philippines. Plus the United States. I was like probably somebody from Europe for sure. Maybe even had more than four continents thrown in there, and
I know, like,
you just don't have that mix of and you'll see different play styles and different things that are important to them coming from different places. Like back in the day, I used to play a lot with people in Brazil, in MMOs, and they have a totally different approach. A lot of in MMOs also, like Eve Online. Eve Online, I ended up playing with so many Russian players. I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are, guys and gals actually, because female Russian players were just as freaking insane as well. Just a lot of fun to play with, and very, very, they just bring something different to the table. And when you go to a convention, because I think conventions are unique in comparison to like going to your local gaming store. Because when you go to your local gaming store, you can pretty much guarantee who you're going to see on any given day. I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong there, but you're going to see very, very familiar faces. And at conventions, you don't know who's going to sit at your table, and that to me is a great plus as well.
well, you also know, little fun tidbit is some of the pre D&D, like the Blackmore bunch, they were
Yeah.
actually playing over the phone. Like Fred Funk was doing. He was a security guard, and he would call in and play with Arneson over the phone. So, I mean, it's just a different experience. I'm kind of with you on this, and that I've got a lot of my players are in different countries. Like
Yeah.
Fox off is in Ireland. How am I supposed to
Right.
get him at
Yeah.
my table? I definitely, I if I get a chance to play in person, I take it.
Yeah.
Um, because it
Yeah.
is, there are just certain things that you don't get both ways. Like, for example, the miniatures and getting to play tactily with the um, fun painting and all that, and getting this terrain set up. That part's fun. Um, I just see them as kind of different experiences in a way.
Mm.
But I know that if I wasn't playing online, I wouldn't be able to support the amount of players that we have, and also where they are. Do you have any Westmarch hex grid exploration? So that's, yeah,
Yeah.
the Fort Nevermore is exactly that kind of situation. So it's all set on a single hex
Mhm.
and a wilderness fort in the center, while orcs are attacking from the east, and you also have, um, I won't spoil too much about what's in there, but a lot
Yeah.
of factions in play. And so the idea is that if you were wanting to play it conventionally, you could have players all, if you want to do West March, for example, you could have them all go out from the fort and play from there and have rotating characters that always make it back to the fort by the end of the
Yeah.
day. And then for faction play, if you're doing or like patron style domain play, you could
Mhm.
have players as the leaders of these factions and see how they go against each other, almost a little bit like a Stein in a way.
Mhm.
And you could also mix a few, which is probably what I'll do at my table. Is I'll probably be running it conventionally West Marchy style, where they're going out of the fort, but then also having some of the players online take over the factions and make decisions and let them decide when the orcs attack and things like that. And like I said earlier, as far as size goes, that one's probably gonna near the 80-page range in the booklet style. Because I'm having to fit a bunch of information on said factions in there. Uh, and then the adventure locations that will be in Three Galoo, you could tie
Mhm.
those into it as well. Have each of them be adjacent hexes or paths, so you could plug it all together.
Right.
But if you want to experience some of that gameplay too, we run it on an open server on the we call it the Game of Games server. So if y'all go to barrowsandborderlands.com, anybody can join. We've got, I think we got like 300 people on the server, but we've got maybe 30 to 50 that will consistently run or play in games or make patron orders and stuff like
Right.
that. So if you want some of that West
If you
March
want,
gameplay,
Matt, if you want, you can private chat me the link to that, and then I
uh,
can put it up on the on the main chat there, because otherwise it'll delete your thing for spam. So it's like another YouTube thing. But yeah, I'll definitely, and your Discord, if you want to put your Discord up, because I know you have a Discord channel as well.
yeah. If
Yeah,
so,
so
that one link I sent, if you go to it and click the Game of Games tab, it's got
yeah,
all the link to the Discord and an overview of how
and
we play.
everything will be there. Great.
Yeah, as well as
So
the character creator. So if you're reading through and need a
there
little
you go.
assistance on
So
that,
everyone, definitely check that out. And in the meantime, I want to say, well, thank you for that super chat, by the way, Snake Oil, Sean, and great question too. And of course, my ear trumpet. Thank you as always. And a new name for me. So Techno Babble, congratulations. You have a membership that entitles you to go to my Discord, and my Discord, just let me know that you're a member. I will give you that role, and that will open it up. You can play in any of my games, or that I have openings for. If you want to come in as an NPC, you're certainly welcome to do so, and do that as well. Currently, I have openings of I have player openings for my BX game that I'm running, but I'm just running it for the summertime. And that was specifically open for just members. So I do have room there for you to join. That's a Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I will be running it this upcoming Thursday, but the following Thursday I'm going to be laid out for medical issue, and hope to be back the following week. Hopefully, I can. I'm not quite sure if I'll be able to sit in a chair for the first week for certain. I don't think I'm sitting in a chair, but hopefully within a week or two after that, I will be back in gaming form. So, um,
we also run some other games on the server as well outside of Bears and Borderlands. So we do run some like AD&D, some OD&D, and we also have we've been recently planning some dropship games because that was a lot of fun at the convention.
yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I was thinking a little bit about Technobabble that was just down there. He's Zombie Rain is a Shadow Dark game centered
Mhm.
around it's like Walking Dead zombies, post apocalyptic. We were
Right.
just playing that on Fox Off RPG's channel the other day. But then um, the other thing, because you brought up something you're running this summer, um, starting in August, I'll be running Gods of the Forbidden North
Hmm.
using Barrows and Borderlands.
Right.
which I'm really excited for. I just got the box set or the big
Yeah.
compendium set in
Hmm.
from Rob, and I think we'll be running that. And then Dan is running Rappanathic on the server.
Right.
I can't remember what time of the year he's planning on starting it, but he's also going to be using B&B in that area. But
Is that a question, Techno, or is that you're going to be there?
probably quite. I
Yeah.
won't be there, unfortunately.
Mhm.
I I got traveled out this year
Yeah.
between the conventions I did go to and then the move and getting everything down here. There was a little
Right.
bit where I wasn't online as much trying to move everything from Charleston, but
Right.
yeah, I have yet to be to Gen Con. I've never been.
I went to Gen Con 18.
Wow.
So that tells you how far back that goes. And I don't do big cons anymore. It's just they're just too much, and they're just too many people. Once a convention gets above like 800, it's like it's just not a con for me.
Yeah.
I really do like less than 600 or so is ideal for me. I like them to have a little bit more than 50, but even my smallest con is now pushing like 90.
That
But like Rogers Con was 244, I think, this
yeah,
past
two
year, and it
cents.
was 202 the previous. And he can have capacity up to 300, I would assume, or probably even a little bit more than that. So definitely looking forward to next year as well. And then, but yeah, I don't do big cons. The last big convention I went to the Comic-Con in New York City in 2015. It was like 60,000 people a day,
Oh wow,
passing through there, and that was just nuts. You know,
crazy. Yeah, I I think the biggest convention I've been to was the Dragon Con down in Atlanta.
yeah,
That was pretty big. I think I was maybe 16 at the time that we went, so I didn't know too much about how conventions. I when I think Dave Con was my first. I consider it my first real convention because that was the first one I went to, and I was like, okay, I'm here for the
yeah.
gaming. I knew the products. I knew what's going on, um, and I was very happy with the size of Dave Con and Arnicon, and now Central New York Con. I was thinking about potentially trying to make North Texas Con
Right.
because my brother lives out that way, so
Oh
I
yeah,
could
makes it easier.
theoretically just stay with him instead of get the hotel fee and all that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I know a couple folks that are going to Page. I can't remember
Mhm.
what time of year that's happening at the Philadelphia
That's the
area.
third week in July, January.
January. Okay, yeah.
So,
So um, it's hard to make so many of them, especially from where
oh
I'm
yeah,
at, because like South Carolina, they're all far away except for the
yeah.
Dragon Con in Atlanta, but that's not
Right.
as focused a convention.
Right.
Um,
Well, you got a couple. I mean, um, Jeff from
yeah,
Jeff is like a Bad News Bards. He's looking to do one in what is he on Tennessee?
Tennessee. Yeah, so
So
that would be. I could
con.
definitely make that one. That'd be like
Yeah.
a maybe 6 hour drive for me.
And then
Also,
eventually, I mean, Arkansas shouldn't be too far for you either. And when Troll Lord Games is doing theirs, like when they do their Troll Con,
yeah,
um, once they get that thing up and running again, or um, once they get their printing factory up, and they said they're going to have a facility there for gaming, which I'm really looking forward to that. I might make that commute. I could go to Dragon Con because my niece lives in Atlanta, but Dragon Con is less a it's
gaming
not just a
convention.
gaming convention, right?
Yeah,
It's a cosplay, it's an
pop
anime,
culture, a
yeah,
little bit of it's kind of like an everything convention.
it's kind of like an everything convention. It's more like a Comic-Con than it is
Hmm.
a gaming convention, and
Yeah,
therethere's a lot of cosplay there,
yeah. There is. I
so
my girlfriend has kids, and so we were thinking potentially trying to go to it because of all the costumes. They'd get all into
Yeah.
it, and they get all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
remember when I went the first time, my sister was like 5 or 6, so she had a blast looking at people dressed up as Optimus Prime and stuff like that. But um, yeah, it's so hard to make them all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't. I mean, unless you're what was her name? Tiffany from that was running at CNY. She was running not Pendragon, RuneQuest. All right,
Mhm.
she's like an official runner for for Chaosium. Like so, she's like, oh, I've been to 47 cons. I was like, how could you possibly go? I mean, that's
If
a full time job. That's for Darren Shore.
Yeah, if
Oh,
I
but
ever win the lottery, I won't tell anybody, but there will be signs, and it'll be all my convention badges. But that's another one I've been running to run on the server is the my RuneQuest second edition
yeah,
book. I've
I
been
have
wanting
that
to play
too.
it.
Yeah.
Um,
I have that and Pendragon. I got to get around to even just reviewing them, let alone and taking a look at them, let alone actually playing them or running. But when I go to CNY next year, I'm only going to run maybe 1 or 2 sessions at the most. And
yeah,
then for the time I'm looking to play something I haven't played before, and that's certainly something that I would look to do is to try to get in her game when she's running either or, whether it's Quest or Pendragon.
I
And
know it. I know at Arnicon, I'll definitely be playing Hyperborea with Jeff because he'll be there
yeah,
this
I've
year.
played in his game twice, and they're a blast. So yeah, you'll enjoy that. Um, but yeah, if I go to DaveCon in 2028, definitely have to get into one of Robert Kuntz's games. Definitely want to get into one of Dave Wesley's, whatever Dave Wesley's going to run. You know, I always forget the name of the thing, the ship game. Don't lose the ship, or
Oh,
because he runs that,
I just
and I would love to.
yeah,
Not don't lose the ship. Oh my gosh,
it's
I don't have a
DGUT.
copy of it. So
Don't give up the ship.
don't give up the ship. I'd love to play in that. So or Braunstein, whatever, but any of those things. But don't give up the ship is definitely one I'd love
Yeah,
to.
I haven't
Love to
played
play
Don't Give Up the Ship yet. I have played in the Brownstein one and then
that.
Banania. Those
Yeah,
were definitely worth playing in. They're so
yeah,
much fun.
yeah. So any of those things, that's definitely a con I have to get to.
Oh yeah.
Um, yeah, Dave Con, and Victor asked me a long, long time ago. Hey, I love for you to come out there, and I was like, it's just such a distance, but yeah, have to go there just for the people that are going to be there.
Right.
Um, because again, that's not going to be something 10 years down the road be able to do that. Although I don't know where I'm going to be 10 years down the road either, but I'll be pushing 72, so it's
I think I'll be on Radioactive 47. No, I'm just kidding. Boogaloo 47.
yeah.
No, but
So anyway, so we've spoken about everything in Barrows and Borderlands, and sounds like you have a lot of things coming up, over the next what's that, like the next 6 months? Is
yeah,
that
next 6 months we've got. I'm hoping that the Barrow Mail will be next month, and
yeah,
then from there 3 Glue a month or two later, and then
right?
going into next year for this.
Yeah,
But yeah, quite. I try to keep myself busy with it because I wind up writing pretty much every day, whether or not I'm doing prose writing or
right,
writing for actual game mechanics and stuff or adventures.
right.
Um, so most of that will never come out, but
Mhm.
usually stuff like 3 Glue and Barrow Mail, I get locked in on it and just start. That's all
Right.
I can think about.
Yeah,
But
and then have you considered looking at things like miniatures for Barrows and Borderlands, or
I know a few friends of mine do some sculpting, and I've thought
Mhm.
about seeing, hey, what do you charge for this?
Yeah,
But Because I've always wanted to have. It's hard to find miniatures for my game when I'm running them in person, because it's
Right,
like, okay, I need. The best miniatures I've found so far have been like using the Arduin miniatures from Emperor's Choice.
right, right,
They've got weird science, and
right.
so, but yeah, I've definitely thought about having like, Dracula with a laser sword, or the
Yeah.
robots from Dynaco and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just a matter of finding someone who can do it, because most of my miniatures that I collect, I have a specific style. I like the grenadier miniatures and stuff like
Right.
that, where they
Yeah.
kind of
The
look
old school
like,
ones. Yeah.
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 Um, it's funny because people at my table are like, "Oh, you only like the miniatures that look bad now because they're so degraded from time." I'm
Right.
like, yes, those are my favorite ones.
Yeah.
So, um, finding a sculptor who could possibly emulate that sort of feel would be
It's like
fun.
the miniatures from WizKids, right? Those look pretty bad too most of the time. Like,
Well, there's one guy whose Patreon I followed for a while. Who was it? Warp Miniatures. I was on his Patreon for a while, but he did some, and I was 3D printing them at home. Those were pretty cool. They had a very old school feel to them, especially the
yeah.
orcs. They were all pig faced orcs and stuff like that.
Oh, those are
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
but
Well, the
miniatures
ones
for
coming
sure.
out for Deathbringer, they're all pig-faced orcs too. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
he definitely has that going, and
I
they are really really cool looking. Um,
as
there
far
was
as
this guy
others.
that was doing miniatures, and he was doing like it was really like a Robert E. Howard series,
Oh,
and of
that's
course
cool.
they shut him down, but
Yeah,
he still got them out there. Like he did a Kickstarter, he ran the Kickstarter, and got funded, and they shut the whole thing down. Um, but probably about like so he just changed the names of everything, so it wasn't
yeah,
Solomon Kane, it was the Puritan, it
yeah.
was like, but the figures were, there were lead figures, they looked awesome, and he still sent them out, eventually, even though they did shut down his whole Kickstarter and all that. Um, but I mean, people will 3D print stuff, and you can get stuff anyway. I look at this new thing. Was it Jujubit? Like somebody showed me like Jujubit. You
Oh,
could send them a picture, and it creates these like awesome looking,
I have
miniatures.
seen
And I'm like,
those.
you have a few of those?
I don't have them, but I've seen
Yeah,
some of them before. Um, Funny enough, I actually do have, for some reason or another, I have like an industrial size 3D printer.
yeah,
And I have some other like resins and some FDM printers that, because
mm,
I would have these huge terrains I'd try to pull out to our in person games,
right.
but I'd always do just the brown craft paper on the table and then have the terrain stacked on top of it with
Hmm.
the players showing up early could draw on the map and whatever else. But
Right.
um, yeah, the miniatures would be a lot of fun. I've also been like, some of the smaller things like having character sheet pads on the site would be really neat.
Mm.
Um, that was one that Dan has been telling me to do for a while.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I mean, I like I said, been keeping myself fairly busy, and then um, trying to get, because right now in the middle of this move, all of my book printing is done in like my parents' dining room that they're not using right now. I'm still putting things out on the property, so there it's only so much volume I can do at the moment as far as printing goes.
Mm.
So a lot of writing's been getting done, and then as far as like future stuff for the core game, uh, I don't know how long I can keep doing the like the box sets for, because I know that with the amount I have at the moment, I'm nearing the point where I need to order more of those boxes. But whether or not the sales are going to come in for the box sets versus like the hardback books or the print on demand single volume version of the game, that sort of thing, I'll just kind of have to look at those numbers soon. But
Okay.
that's all I've
Um,
got going on.
cool. I just sent out those last 5 for the month memberships. So congratulations. I'll bring it up there. So
Nice.
Fred, congratulations. Steve, congratulations. Bob Vecna. My gosh, but Bob, you've won that at least like 3 months in a row. Glad to have you jump in the game. Blue Druid, that's a new name. Congratulations. And Raziel won, also a new game. Hey, welcome as well, and congratulations. So, and again, you are welcome to join my Discord. Go in there, tell me, hey, I'm a member, and you can jump in any of my games that I'm running. You want to come in as as an NPC, you can come in as an NPC. Just touch bases with me like the week before, and we'll come up with something. You can possibly have a reoccurring role, and then if a spot opens up, then you can obviously fill in the seat if you wish, and go according to that. And I'm looking for other games to run. Like I do want to run eventually. I want to run Barrows and Borderlands. I want to run. I want to run Dropship. I want to run. There's so many games I want to run.
So-
one of my bucket list things is I mean, you could partially see what's behind me, and
Right.
I kind of said to myself, I was like, you know what? I've probably run about 40% of what I have on my shelves. All right. I want to get to 60% of what is on there. And that's going to take some, one hell of an endeavor to do. But I've at least played most of what I have up, on there. But there's still some games out there that I haven't played yet. And so want to have that, experience. And probably the only place I'll get that is at conventions. So
Yeah, getting the chance to actually try those out. That's
Yeah.
something I was because one of the next CNY Con I was talking about bringing my outdoor survival set and running
Mhm.
some there. Yeah, actually, that Baron, there are some new classes in 3 Glue.
Mhm.
One of them's the Summoner, which I'm quite happy about, which uses some of the stuff from Bear Mail that I was working on. I realized, oh man, this would totally work well for a summoner type character to use, and a few more in there as well, and some new races as well as some more otherworld stuff. So I'll be going over Universe X in that one, which is probably my strangest setting that I've done so far. It's on the edge of the multiverse, just as it's on the crack of the multiversal egg. And so you've got a lot of time manipulation that I was working with the monsters, and then the paradox beast that'll be in there. At a new they're a subtype of a new set of monsters that I've been working on called anachronisms, which are creatures from the nothing. It's a
Right.
whole thing. That one, I like I said, it's probably the weirdest setting I've done. But then it'll have some very interesting races, like the Red Shifted are in there, which are kind of like time ghosts in a way. Lots of fun stuff.
And Boogaloo 1 and 2, they are available on your website, right?
They
So
are
they're
available on the
in
website.
stock, and you can still get them.
Yeah, Boogaloo 1 and 2 are both in print. You can pick them up there. They come the same way the core set comes in the hand printed booklets. Boogaloo 1, if you want it just digitally, is free also. So if you want like a taste of how I do my supplements, those are you can pick up Boogaloo 1. Boogaloo 2 is not free for the PDF, but neither will Boogaloo 3. But Boogaloo 1, I'm keeping that on there as free PDF, or you can get, obviously, the print is not free, but
Right. Does the print come with PDF?
The print does. All the prints come with PDFs.
Good.
So,
all right.
And then like for Dracula in Space, if you pick that one up, it comes with the PDFs of all the maps that you can print out if you wanted and have a bigger, like 8.5 by 11 version of the map, or just run it on your computer. Which
I don't think
you got yours at the you got yours at the you got yours at the convention. I never got your email written down, so I'll send you the link over.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because if I when I do run, when I do run Barrows and Borderlands, that's certainly an adventure that I am going to run.
And
So
I guess that goes because I saw somebody else in the chat. If you bought it at the convention and I didn't write your email down,
yeah,
send me a message on X, Discord,
yeah,
whatever else it is, and I
I'll send
can
you one. Yeah, because
send that
I
email
might have
out.
wrote my email down. I just, I recently I had like 7,000 emails. I was like, oh, let me clear this crap out, and I might have lost it along the way, or I forget which email I might have gave you, or maybe I didn't write it down. I don't remember.
I'll go back and double check and see if it
Yeah,
got written down. But regardless, I'll get them
or I
over
might
to you.
actually have it, and I'm just totally forgetting that I even have it. Let me actually do that. Let me see if I have. I may have it. So
And while you're pulling that up too, yeah, if like I
yeah,
said, if you were at the convention and picked it up and I didn't write your email down, just shoot me a message anywhere with your email or anything else, and I'll get them over to you. If you get them on the site, you'll automatically be able to download them straight from there at
yeah,
barrowsborderlands.com. And then when Barrow Mail comes out, my current plan is to release the PDF first, and then if folks get the PDF and decide they want to get the print when that comes out, they'll get a discount on the print based on how much they spend on the
yeah,
PDF. So that way you can feel comfortable getting the PDF without worrying that that you'll have to pay again for the print. The
right.
same, but same goes for like the 3 glue supplement. When I do that, I'll probably do that the same way.
Right.
That way too, like if I release the PDF first, no matter how much I think I've found every issue in there and all my play testers have found every
Right.
issue,
Right. Yeah.
give it 2 weeks as a digital release first, and they'll find something that you
Yeah.
didn't know about. But yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
also,
So
if they're retailers and stuff, I am in a few stores across the country. I do wholesale on the game for that. But yeah, I can't remember. I think it's 5 stores that it's currently in.
right.
But
So hey, Edgelord, how's it going? It was great to have you both at the table, and that adventure. I am. So I'm going to write that adventure in probably like 2 or 3 different systems. So I've been in touch with. I have an item that is coming out with that I worked with Agile Monk, and his son and everything for. It's basically it's spell cards for castles and crusades.
that's pretty cool.
So the spell cards are coming out. There are multiple packs and everything. They've already approved them. They're coming out sometime, I would say next year, once they get past their entire huge queue of things that they do have coming out with Troll Lord Games. And I have reached out and spoken to Stephen Chenault about adventure and writing adventures for Castles and Crusades, which kind of goes along with Agile Monk's Zendria system, which so that adventure that you were in is going to be placed in Zendria. So be on the lookout for that, and it'll probably be in a Castles and Crusades rather than in Shadow Dark, at least. Although Zendria is written for Shadow Dark as well, so maybe you'll see it in both.
I like Agile Monk stuff. He's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. Hey Chris, Moneymaker, good to see you. I'll definitely check in on your convention. That's another convention down there in Tennessee. So yeah, you can check that out as well. So that's Dark Con. So it's mostly focused on mostly focused on, oh my gosh, second edition
Dark Sun.
Dark Sun, yes. Yeah. Dark Sun, and then there will be Shadow Sun being run there. Chubby Funster will be there running running his game there and everything. I've recently
Oh,
picked that
that'll
up
be
as
pretty
well.
cool.
And so, yeah, definitely check that out. I was at CNY Con and bought a box set, but I don't really use PDFs very often. Yeah, I like the PDF. I like the PDFs for it's just faster to reference things,
Yeah,
than looking through the books or whatever. When I run online, I have both go. I have both open.
I
Like
have
I'll
the
have
same
the
here.
books here,
Both of them.
and I'll have that there. I have my physical dice. I still use my physical dice tray, and I still got that there. And I,
Use the
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those were there. This is the one I got from there. So there is
oh,
my
nice.
dice tray. So was it um, Tiffany's trinkets
I think
or
so.
Trisha's trinkets, or I think it's Trisha's trinkets. It might be Trish, or was it Tiffany?
I can't really remember. I
I
know
forget.
that there was another. I feel bad because I kept wanting to go check out a couple of the other vendors in the other room that
Hmm.
Todd was in, and the drop ship, but
Yeah,
I that was my only thing, is that was my first time at a convention sitting at the vendor's booth, and I was like, I can't be away for too long. I
yeah,
can, but I can't. But
yeah,
um, luckily, I think I could have gotten away a bit more than I did. So next year I'll be doing that more. Because I realized I could kind of see it from there anyway. So if somebody was walking towards it, I could just turn around and go back to the booth. Um, but yeah, I had heard somebody else mention DarkCon as well, so I might have to check out when that one's
yeah,
running.
yeah.
Uh,
There's a Kickstarter for it that's currently running. Um,
October time, it looks like
yes.
24th and 25th. I might be able to swing that. That'll be right after I get done with Arnicon. Yeah, Arnicon. So like a couple weeks after. But
Yeah, I'm not finding it right now.
here I can put a
Yeah,
link to
Trina's
you.
thing. I'm looking for Roger. If you're in there, just type it in. If Roger's still around, yeah, Roger's still. Oh, Trina's trinkets. I got it right.
There, yeah.
So thank you. I know I was just looking for the YouTube channel for it, but yeah, Trina's trinkets. It's awesome stuff. Um, so let's see. Control F on PDFs is great. Yeah, no, I love it. And the other thing with PDFs is, and I say this to all people that publish, using PDFs, hyperlinked table of contents.
Yes.
Please, hyperlinked table of contents. I'm starting to get so cranky old man about certain things, and it's like that's one of my pet peeves. It's like, oh, when you do that, I will praise you up and down as soon as I come across. I was like, oh, look, I've done it now like the last 5-6 times that I came across it, and I'm doing a review of someone's PDF. So yeah, if you want a great review for me, have hyperlinked, on hyperlinked table of contents in there, and I'm right in there with you. My other, I have a few pet peeves that I'm starting to realize that I'm getting crankier and crankier about certain things. It's like the other thing for me is like ascending armor class. It's like it's like you're not going to produce a new automobile that doesn't have power steering. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like, at some point, there's you got to move forward with
That's why
things.
I put the ascending armor class conversion in
Yeah,
D&D, because I was like, I wanted at my table. I've just gotten so used to running descending armor class that I keep doing it. So that's what I
yeah,
there initially. But I was like, I and for a while I was like, oh yeah, it's better for this or that, and then I got to a point where I was like, it's really not, is it? Like it's
yeah.
really not better. It's
It just I find that it just streamlines it so much faster, especially if you're running online.
yeah,
So when you're running online, you don't want to get bogged down into, oh, let me look at the and cross reference what you rolled with a, with a to hit matrix, and try to do that. It's like, no, ascending just gets rid of all of that, and online I'll put the monster's AC on there. So that's the only thing that the players will see is their AC. That way they don't have to ask me, did I hit it? No, you'll see right from there whether you hit it or not.
Yeah.
The less we're talking about the actual game mechanics, I think the better off we are, when we're running, because we still have a limited time frame, when I'm running, because, like I said, I'm getting old. I can't do 4 hours, in the seat anymore. So it's like, that 3.5 hours that we have to play, I want us to be playing. I don't want us to be
I want to
looking up
get to the game.
Yeah, it's like, and so Dr. G does descending AC best in Dragon Slayer. Yeah, but
I picked up one of his adventures while I was at CNY
he doesn't
Con.
put the combat matrix in the book.
Well,
doesn't have the combat. You have to look at something else to get it, though. I'm sorry. It's just, if your whole system is built on descending armor class, then you need to have the combat matrix in the book.
And pulling up in here
I know I know it's only 5 seconds to do it, but when you have to do it every time somebody is attacking, it becomes 10 minutes by the end of a game session. That's 10 minutes of time that could be spent role playing or doing some other activity than looking it up on cross-reference on the thing.
Now, if there is one benefit though to the descending, it's that when I'm running the older modules, I can just pick them up and go with them, because I do that a lot too with the old TSR modules and stuff. But I do think that, like, if you're going to do descending nowadays, you should at least put the conversion for ascending in there, just because a lot of people are going to wind up using it.
Yeah, like OSC has them both. That'll have the ascending in parentheses.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has it both there. It's like, all right, I can see it. I mean, I know everybody will say, oh, you just subtract from 20 and now you have what I don't want to do that. I just want to, just roll right through it. Like I said, I know I'm being old man, shouting at clouds. But but that's my pet peeve is, give me something that I can streamline and we can spend more time role playing. We could spend more time actually doing stuff. The last thing I want to do is to have to look at a chart to see whether you hit or not. I mean, to me, that's just a level of meticulousness that's unnecessary. It's like, I'm not that bound to nostalgia,
Yeah, so. I know. It kind of, for me too, it depends on, because I still play some games with ascending armor class too, but it does lend itself to a certain vibe sometimes when it's in there.
Yeah.
But you're still all right. Man, well, that's something too. I've had talks about it with players before, and I'm like, if I have a player and that's the hurdle that they don't want to go over to join, like, our old school games and stuff like that, then I'll concede on stuff like ascending armor class and things like that I might have just gotten used to. But like, a lot of times too, whenever I run at the game store and I have folks that have never played a role-playing game, I don't even go over any of that with them. I just ask for what they rolled and I have their combat matrix, or I just have their THACO remembered or stuff like that.
Yeah, but to this here, sure. I guess it's harder for them to determine it, but bottom line, most players know what chainmail and the shield, is going to give them in ascending armor class. It's like the kind of thing is, I don't want them to spend their time trying to think, oh, is this, what's their AC, kind of thing. It's, to me, that's wasted time. But anyway, it's all good. Yes, it is all good. As long as we're having
Yeah,
fun at the table.
he brought up base 20. I've definitely
Yeah.
I haven't played many games with base 20, but I get the concept of it. It just feels like heresy. I don't know why, it just does.
So you have to roll above a 20 in order to hit?
Well, it's die roll plus armor class. If it's above, it's I think that's what it is. Die roll plus armor class. If it's above a 20, you hit. Plus the enemy's armor class is the idea. But I haven't played games with base 20. I just, like I said, every time I hear it, I'm like, oh, I feel like somebody said something about the Emperor or something, Emperor of Mankind, and I'm in trouble.
Chris, I'll play anything. You tell me what the party needs, and I'll play it. I mean, that's my thing, that's my thing at conventions too. Like when they hand like a whole bunch of pre-gens. I mean, you were there at the table. I was like, just give me the top one. It happened to be the only, like, the highest ranking officer there. He was like, oh, you're the captain. You have to, make all these decisions now. I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't looking to do that, but okay, I'll do it. So yeah, I don't care.
I think I was private.
Yeah, you were private,
and I was military police as well. That was a good game. That was quite fun.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was another game system that was just a nice pace to it. It just went, very, very quick. A D12 system, which is a nice change. Nice change of pace there as well. And again, great players. I had great players at every one of my tables. I played with great players at every table I played at. I mean, it was just all around a great gaming experience.
When I get done with the barrel mail stuff, I need to hit you up you should join me in some of the play tests of it.
Sure.
Because if you like quick stuff, I mean, it's chainmail in the background as far as core mechanic goes.
Right.
But we've done a lot of, like, one of the guys on the server has been playtesting it quite a bit as like a troop play system. And combats are extremely fast. That's one of the things I've been liking about it. From seeing the playtest, but I think that'd be one you'd enjoy.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Like I said, other than next week, like once I get through next week and everything, I will, I'll be looking for, opportunities, because I don't go back to work until August 31st. And I'm running 3 games a week, but I have plenty of time in between those 3 games, because those are Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Saturday night. So the rest of the time I'm wide open free. So I don't know when you normally do stuff, or anybody else, whenever you're running stuff or whatnot. And then come September, I still don't know what my work schedule is in September. I might be free on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or I'll be free on Tuesdays and Fridays. I don't know which setup that's going to be.
My schedule is fairly open right now. I've been toying with, so now that I'm back near the folks and everything, going over and helping out with my mom's business some. She's got multiple of her employees off on maternity leave at the exact same time. So it's I might have some time taken up by that soon, but I just sent you a message on there too. I almost forgot to mention it, but I do have a discount code running on the site. Just all caps, Game of Games, no spaces or anything, and for 10% off store wide.
Yeah, I just put that posting up there. So yep, everyone check that out. So, and now let me click it here. So
I always forget whenever I'm running discounts and sales. But
I'll do it, even though I hate psionics, but I will do it. A halfling psionicist, sure.
Have you tried the B&B psychic stuff yet?
No. Like I said, the only
It's
time I played B&B, other than with you, was with Shadow and Sun was running it, and I played the Kobold Fighter.
I went
So,
with the game. I went with one that was uh, based on Lamentation of Flame Princess blogs mixed with
mm,
what's the guy Bandit's Keep. If you've ever seen his YouTube show, he talked
right.
about it some, and I was like, running it sort of like Lamentations Thief Skills, where it's
Yeah.
D6 roll under. Um, but uh, you should check those out in there too, because that was one thing I have always not liked was the original Psionics rules.
Right.
But um, yeah, I think next time too, I'll be throwing in some more of because the pre-mades I made for the convention were pretty good, but now I've got it set up on the site where I can click and generate like 100 pre-made random rolls all at
Oh, really?
once.
All right.
Yeah,
That's cool.
and so I tested that whenever we were at CNY Con, but I guess I had built it wrong, so it didn't come out quite right, and so everything, all the equipment was the equipment was entirely randomized, so none of it made
Right.
sense. Um, but by next time, I'll probably print off just a huge ledger, and then you just pick one off the sheet, and I can hand you the one associated with it.
All right. Cool.
But
Yeah, I like doing a mix of pre-gens or I like to give them the option if they want to create a character they can, but I definitely streamline that process as well. So I use like a standard array. It's
yeah,
like, all right, take these, these are your stats and just place them as you want. You know, I was very, very generous with that. I was like, you're going to get 118, two 13s, a 12, a 10, and a 9, or something like that, and that worked well with Hyperborea, because then I feel like a convention player, it's like, wow, I have an 18. I have an 18, and
yeah,
whenever I want to put it in, and I'm going to feel like, oh, I'm superhuman, in that one particular area. And then they still run into, if any of them got bit by that dragon, because I was running Red Nails. I was doing
yeah.
an adaptation of Red Nails, and that dragon
Okay.
would have chopped anybody in half if it ever got a bite on them and everything. I was like, wow, the thing's going to do something like 8d6 damage on a bite. I was like, yeah, that'll be pretty brutal. Um, but let's see, I literally bought the box set. Um, box set in the same way, and then he told me that. Um, I'm not sure what that's referring to, but anyway,
Must have
yeah.
been something good. I said.
I mean, overall, how was CNY for you for the vending? Because that's something that
That was
we
pretty good. I only came back with one box set and a couple of the Boogaloo supplements. So
really.
yeah, it did pretty good. Actually, I did come back with two box sets, but that's because I opened one while I was there to show off because I was like, oh, I didn't bring like just a show off one so people could
Right.
touch it and everything. So I did
Yeah.
bring that one back too. And then yeah, I sold out pretty quick. Now I will say next time I go, I think I'm gonna ship the vending stuff, or I'm gonna drive and it'll be in the back of my car.
I
Because
would drive and bring it to the back of your car. I've
because
seen nightmares of that, even with like Troll Lord Games at
yeah.
page 2. Their shipment didn't come the
Oh
day
wow.
of. It came, like they had to reorder it, and it came the second day.
Oh man. Well,
So their whole first full day, nothing at their table.
wow. Yeah, that would not be fun.
So
Yeah, I think I'm going to drive this time anyway, so I can just
yeah,
load up the back of the car. But this past one, the only downside I had is that I could only bring whatever I could fit on the plane. You know,
yeah,
so which it was still a sizable amount with the size of those box sets. I can kind of stack them
hmm
in a
right,
luggage and then just shove all my clothes in a backpack. But
yeah,
yeah, next time I'm hoping to bring more. Now that's also if I still have more of the box sets by then, but I'll know whether or not I'm ordering more of that stock soon of the
yeah,
boxes themselves,
hmm
because all of those things have minimum orders and stuff like that.
right, right.
Um, So it's whether or not I think I can go through that much by next year. Um, I'm hoping I do because I like making the box sets. But
Dark Sun box set 2400.
oh,
Hmm.
I bet it is like eBay cost or something.
Oh my gosh.
I hope not. That's crazy.
No, I've seen a less than that.
Yeah, but they've been. Yeah,
Maybe.
you can get it for less than that.
Yeah, you definitely can.
I just looked it up.
Definitely can. Maybe
There's
240.
it's a guy selling one.
Oh yeah, you always get
Yeah,
one insane person that's in there that will put that up there, and it's like, just somebody doesn't see there isn't a decimal in there and makes a mistake, but
yeah,
it doesn't work because you can back out of a purchase if you realize that, hey, you know what, I just looked at this, and yeah, eBay will not lasso you into making that purchase.
yeah. It looks like Noble Knight's got a copy of it for about or for 150 on there. So
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I mean, maybe 240, not 2400.
I,
That's like one insane person that thinks, oh, I'm going to get somebody. I'll get some sucker to buy this.
what's funny is when I was doing the first run of the booklets and stuff,
Hmm.
I wanted to see because I'd always wanted a for an actual first edition or
Yeah.
zero edition box set, but I didn't have one. And I was like, man, how am I going to know how close I was able to get the paper and everything? Because I knew it was not going to be perfect as far as that. Because I went with a heavier duty
Hmm.
paper for the game because I wanted it to last a little bit longer.
Right.
Um, but so I went on eBay, I bought one just so I could look at it, and then resold it on there again because at the time I had like $20 in my bank account or something. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I shouldn't, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I
now
was
I can tell
recently
people I
looking
owned
to
one.
pick up something on eBay, and I was like, you know what? It wasn't that expensive though, but I've already forgotten what the heck it was, and I'm trying to be like, no, I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna wait and see. I have too many Kickstarters that I'm waiting to receive, yet, so I'm like, I'm gonna hold off on that. But
I keep I keep kicking myself for not buying it when I was 9 years old and it was $50 on
well,
eBay.
yeah, yeah,
So
um, but yeah, it's an expensive hobby when you're trying to buy a lot of stuff that you missed out on, going backwards, I
it
mean,
is.
but then once you have it, I mean, literally this stuff will last you a lifetime,
Yeah,
I mean, I still use my AD&D first edition books, and I use them physically, use them at my table or at my desk, even though I have the PDFs and everything that I use when it's online, but I still like them on my desk, and they're holding up pretty darn well for books that were, almost 50 years old.
I
You know,
did I did pretty good on my first edition set because the real beginning of my collection there was gifted to me from somebody I
yeah,
used to work with that played it when he was a
yeah,
kid, and they were in great condition. Uh, I think the only thing in the books that was you know disrupted was just his signature of
yeah,
teenage
yeah.
him
Name and
in the book.
everything. Yeah, words I
Yeah,
don't even care about. It's like
exactly.
I'm not going to resell them. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're part of my collection. I've told
Exactly.
my younger daughter, who swears that she's throwing everything out when I die, and I'm like, no. I was like, there's thousands of dollars worth of stuff in all of my various collections, and she was like, nope, nope, it's all. I was like, don't you tell me that. I was like, it was like, no, no, it's just like, look it up. Like, I mean, Lord knows how much that white box behind me is going to be, going to be worth, 30 years down the road from now.
Yeah, I think I don't have it in front of me, but I think my favorite one is my Holmes Basic.
Yeah.
Um, I also had Dave Arneson's daughter at Arnicon. I had her sign it and stuff, and
Oh, nice,
nice one
nice.
to add to my collection. Um, I try to collect whenever I can, but I'm fairly stingy when it comes to buying
She played
multiple
the
hundred
first.
dollars.
She played the first Thief, if I'm not mistaken.
She was very nice to talk
thief,
to.
and or the first. She played the first. I believe she played the first thief in in D&D history. At the table. I'd have to rewatch.
Yeah,
I'd
Dave
have to
Arneson's daughter.
rewatch Secrets of Blackmore
Oh,
to see.
that was her talking about Dave McGeary playing the first thief. It looks
Oh,
like
so Dave
she.
McGarry played the first
Yeah,
thief. Was she the first? She played a halfling.
trying to see. It could be. She was very nice to talk to though. Very
Oh
very
yeah,
nice, and we and I guess she was at Arnicon with her family and stuff, and but that like I don't know. I know Dave Con and Arnicon, the Blackmore Bunch shows up to. I don't know what other cons they frequent because I don't think they travel as much. I'm
I think
surprised
he
Rob's
goes
going to make it
to.
from Dave
I'm
Con.
pretty sure he goes to Dave Con.
Yeah. I haven't seen him there before, but I know he's been there. I just don't
Yeah.
know. Not whenever I was there. Or
Right.
McGeary does. I'm talking about
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Robert
he
Kuntz.
does. Yes.
But we just were talking. Rob Kuntz and I were just talking on X about the Averone setting for
Yeah.
um, Castle Amber, and then also like because right now that's what I'm reading through is the Averone series, the cycle
Mm,
from Clark Ashton Smith,
right.
which I recommend if y'all have not read Clark Ashton Smith, definitely do. Uh, I still think Zothique is probably my favorite cycle in
Mm,
that he's done, which is his like end of the world setting. It's so
right.
far in the future, everything's reverted back, and um, you can tell I kind of have a theme for settings that I
Right.
like.
Right. So
But,
let's see. No, that's the SQ. Oh, that's the SQ. All right, not the SQ
oh,
is 2400. Okay. I was like,
okay. My heart sank for a minute when I first saw that. I'm like, there's no way it went that. I could have gotten it for so much less.
so okay. Off to watch the House of the Dragon. Is that any good?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I I haven't
I
seen
haven't
it yet.
watched it yet. I mean,
Is that the Game of Thrones spinoff?
yeah. This is the Game
Okay,
of
yeah.
Thrones,
That last season of Game of
like
Thrones just made
prequel,
me
right?
not
It's
want to
like a
watch much
prequel.
more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but anyway. All right, I am going to wrap this thing up because we're just a little over the 2 hour, time frame, and that's usually how long I run these things. It was great having you on, Matt.
That was
You're
so much
always
fun.
welcome to come on and jump on in when I open up the things. I am not doing anything to next Sunday. Um, I'm wide open the following Sunday, so I'll probably have an open mic Sunday or whatever. We'll see what else is out
That'll be
there.
pretty
I'll see what
cool.
comes up during that week and see what I talk about. And then later on, I think I'm going to have. Well, I'm going to have Stephen Chenault and probably Jason Vey on to talk about Amazing Adventures monsters.
That'll be
Monsters
pretty cool.
coming out. Monsters Compendium coming out specifically for their reforged of that. So yeah, they'll be
I
coming
love the
on.
cover. The cover is so good.
What's that?
The cover that they've got going for it is so
Oh
good. It's
yeah.
got
Oh,
the
all
Indiana
the
Jones
cover
guy
art
and
is just
the
like
not Indiana
phenomenal.
Jones on the front.
Yeah, no, they have awesome covers. I mean, they're the artists that they utilize for their things are just top notch.
Very
They
good.
do really really good job with it, and yeah, they have a lot of stuff coming out. A lot of deals with the Gygax estate and everything. So they're going to be re-releasing the Gord novels.
Oh, that'll
Um,
be cool.
and those are going to be in audio, which I'm like, yes. It's like, when you commute, 2.5 hours a day, hour and 20 minutes each way, then it's nice to have audio books. And so I'd rather do that than listen to a radio.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm still waiting. I still have like 7 or 8 books of theirs coming as part of their Kickstarters over the various months, like the Worlds of Gygax. I'm waiting for like 7 of those 8 books or whatnot. So looking forward to that, and probably a bunch of other stuff. I'm still waiting for Shadow Dark, the Western Marches, Western Reaches should be coming very, very soon. And then Agile Monk said that his books will be out by November. So real quick. Oh yeah, they have a quick turnaround on it.
Yeah.
Which I was like, that's phenomenal. So yeah, I can't wait to have that in hand. That's gonna be awesome. And then I'll see. I know Jeff Talanian is coming out with the Comorian box set of that.
I'm gonna be playing that so much.
Yeah,
one of the guys on the server I'm gonna make run it. That he likes running Hyperborea as one of his like main settings. I need to put it on him so I can be a player.
It was like, that's like one of those take my money now moments. When you announced that, I was like, the only thing I gotta bug him on is, can we get some freaking Hyperborea t-shirts that are in men's sizes? The women's small, petite is not a gamer size. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're all sold out. But that's my next thing is, instead of getting convention t-shirts, which my wife is getting like annoyed at. She was like, you got the same convention, like 3 different shirts from the same convention, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I try to buy them every year, but now I'm going to shift more towards gaming shirts. So if you ever come up with a Barrows and Borderlands t-shirt, those are pretty easy to do, by the way. I mean, you just do Cafe Press and you can get them made for you, and then however they are in bulk, I don't know. But yeah, definitely check. You can do those on Amazon, and you don't even have to have the stock of it or whatever. Check with Roger, because Roger did that with the CNY. The CNY.
I'll send you some questions, because I've wanted to do that for a while. Have some B&B shirts, because the first time I went to the DaveCon convention, I had made one with like a little cricket, just to bring there. It eventually fell apart because just the cricket ones with the iron-on presses, they eventually don't last. But that would be really neat to see.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. I'm more into if I'm running a game, I want to wear the shirt while I'm running a game, especially if I'm at a convention. Because then you're advertising it more than one way. So yeah, if you come out with a Barrows and Borderlands shirt, I will definitely get one. All right. So
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. I'm sure that they will sell pretty well. Just like I said, get gamer sized. Gamer sized. As they say. Gamer size is always like one size larger than you thought.
Right.
But But anyway. It was great having you on. You have
great to be here.
Great rest of your remaining Sunday night, and like I said, you're always welcome to come on during any of my live streams. And definitely reach out with me with the with the test playing. I would love to do it.
I would love to have you play with us too, because I definitely think it's something that, based on how you were describing your play style, you would enjoy.
Yeah. So definitely reach out, and I'll send you a little thing. On Facebook. I use Facebook for reaching out mostly. So, or Twitter, either or X, whatever you want to call it. I still call it Twitter. But anyway, thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks a lot for coming on in, and thanks for those super chats, and congratulations to everybody that got their memberships and everything. Remember to go to my Discord, check out Matthew's website. He said 10% discount on things. So
Game of Games, all caps, no spaces.
Yep, and definitely jump in on that as well. And you all have a good one. Take care. I'm going to hit the stream will be on for like 3 more seconds after that. So don't make any goofy faces